Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Vicki Spurlock, and this is my colleague, Anna Taryn, and we're going to talk to you today about some of the capabilities that complement Oracle's Transportation Management System, or OTM. First, let's talk about AI machine learning functionality. We're able to predict shipment ETAs during both the planning process as well as during the execution phases. This is important because with better ETAs, you're able to provide both your internal and your external customers with better information so they can adjust their supply chains accordingly. Oracle has taken a no-code approach here, so there's no need for you to go out and hire data scientists when you're creating these machine learning models. You can see here that we have our machine learning workbench, which contains some prepackaged dashboards that have been embedded directly into the workbench. These analytics will allow you to monitor for both accuracy and performance, as well as identify any risky lanes by looking at the predicted, planned, and estimated transit times side by side. So now let's take a look at how machine learning works during the planning process by going into our predictive shipment planning workbench. This is going to allow me to look at both my orders and shipments at the same time. I can quickly identify that my order coming from Hong Kong going into my Denver plant is in jeopardy of being late. It appears that the issue is on the ocean leg of this particular route, as I can see here. When I scroll over to the right, I can see that machine learning has predicted a 48-day transit time as opposed to the 17-day transit time that was included during the planning process. This is resulting in a predicted arrival time of December the 30th, which is going to make my order late for delivery. So with that information, I can either leave it as is, or I can go see if there's alternative routes that are available to me. Did I get? Taking a second. It shouldn't be. So I can go out and see what alternate routes I have, change my route to a different option, which should be coming up as going through the Port of Houston. I should have 3 routes available to me. It looks like it's logging me into a different window. Apologies there. So now, and all of these manual clicks that I'm doing could all be automated in your instances. I can see here are the 2 routes that come up. My next cheapest cost route is a rail option going through my Port of Houston. If I click OK there, the system will go out, reroute it, re-rate it, recalculate my transit times, and then by simply returning to my workbench and doing refresh, I can see that my order is no longer in jeopardy of being late and my shipment has been rerouted through that Port of Houston. So now I'll turn it over to Anna to walk you through our logistics network modeling tool.
Okay. Another extended feature functionality complementary to OTM is logistics network modeling, or L&M. With L&M, you can quickly and easily model changes to your transportation network by defining and comparing scenarios using your real operational data. This analysis will give you what you need in order to make informed strategic decisions about your network. So let's go into what this would look like. Okay. Here we're looking at a modeling workbench, which is the main dashboard in which you'll execute all of your modeling projects. On the top left here, you can see different modeling projects that we have created for different purposes. We're going to use DC shipping location as our example today. As I highlighted that project on the top, the lower pane populated the scenarios that make up this project. In the middle here, we have the orders that make up the project, and to the far right, a visualization of the data, which we'll get to at the end. Much like everything else in OTM, this workbench can be set up however the user finds most convenient for them. The basis of this project is to model the potential cost impact of changing the source location of our DC from our current location of Kansas City to either Tulsa or Des Moines. As you see here, we have each scenario set up. So what you would do is highlight the first 3 scenarios, go to Actions, and we would go to Scenario Bulk Plan. What this does is simulate the planning of our orders under each of these scenarios. These are actual orders in OTM, by the way, and this would give us a result for analysis. We already ran this previously, so we can actually go ahead and look at the results. Looking at these results, we see that retaining the current source location yields the least cost. However, if a situation arose in which this source location wasn't viable anymore, it would be good to know your options. Scenario 2 yielded a little higher cost, but if you look at the shipments built, it's less at 176. This tells us that there are more opportunities for consolidation out of Tulsa. And third, we see the highest weighted costs and the least amount of cost savings out of Des Moines. One last thing to note is the mileage. The distance traveled increases significantly in scenario 2. We can conclude that although less shipments were planned, they had to travel a greater distance. Now, if you wanted to drill down into this further, you could add more scenarios and then you would repeat the process. You can also leverage L&M to analyze factors other than cost savings. If improving supply chain sustainability is part of your organization's current or long-term goals, then that's something you can easily incorporate into your modeling analysis. Let's look at the data visualization that we have set up here for this project. Here at the top, you can see graphical representations of the data that we have, but if I scroll down, you can see the impact on CO2 emissions. If you recall when we were going over the results, scenario 2 had the greatest distance traveled. This also has the greatest impact on our CO2 emissions, which can be another factor that you want to weigh when you're making decisions about your transportation network. Machine learning and L&M are just a couple examples of Oracle's innovative technologies that, together with OTM, keep our customers ahead. Please come see us at our booth T1, also right next to the puppies, if you're interested in learning more. Thank you so much.